welcome Eric Carson to our program. So Eric, you take it away.
Hey, Johnny.
And I'll be the lead here.
Hey, sounds good, Johnny. That's awesome. I am Eric Carson. This is Johnny Vicino. On the next JV Effect, we're talking about resilience in sports. It's October, so that means it's
Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
There are lots of stories about people overcoming the disease and making a comeback in sports. Today we'll have two of those stories, one from a dragon boat racer in Florida and another about a New Haven basketball legend.
Plus a sports guest.
That's right. After our interviews, we're going to have a new Talking Sports segment and a new co-host. Miles Chester, he's a freshman at Quinnipiac, and he wants to be a teacher when he graduates.
So, Eric, you ready to do this?
We'll talk about all this and more, but please tell us your thoughts about resilience in sports on our Instagram,
which is jveffect.podcast.
That's right. All right, so this is going to be a good episode. We're going to talk about resilience. Do you know what resilience means, Johnny?
What does that mean?
So resilience is a little bit like determination, where you're determined to achieve something, right? You want to accomplish a goal. Now, anybody can be determined, right? I can be determined to finish my degree, or I can be determined to save up enough money to buy a new car or a video game, right? Have you ever been determined to be anything? Anything?
A little bit.
Yeah, can you give us an example?
Sure, I can give you guys an example. So I'm determined to do this so I could be a sports broadcaster.
Oh, yeah, that's an excellent example, like where, yeah, you're determined to be a sports podcaster and broadcaster, and coming here to Quinnipiac University is one of the ways you're working to achieve that. So there's that determination that people have. And then there's kind of like another kind of determination, a resilience, where you're determined to achieve something, but it often comes from a place of overcoming an obstacle in your life, right? And lots of people have different kinds of obstacles in their lives. So it could be an illness, it could be an injury, it could be losing a game, it could be getting cut from the team, right? And a lot of those things happen to all people. So resilience is important because sad things or unfortunate things will happen to you and happen to people in our lives. But it's really the people who are resilient and can come back from that. They are the people who achieve and overcome. And oftentimes, I would say even have better outcomes than people who are just have the determination but never have to face any obstacles.
Let's talk a little bit about the movie, if we may.
Yeah, good idea. We watched a short documentary. It's only 30 minutes. It's called Conquering the Dragon, and it was on WLRN PBS station. It aired originally in 2010, so this is a little bit of an older one. But the topic of it is, do you remember the topic of it?
What was the topic?
Remember what they were racing in?
Oh, for the boats? Is that what it is?
So they're actually dragon boats, and dragon boats are 20-person paddled boats, and they race against each other in lakes and rivers. And we were fortunate enough to be able to have an interview with Louise Wolanske, who is a world champion dragon boater, and she lives in Florida, and she's going to tell us her story. So do you want to throw it over to her?
Yes. So now we're going to throw it over to Louise. So Louise, take the airways. Good evening, everybody. This is Johnny from the JV Effect and Eric. And today we're interviewing Louise. So Louise, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
So, tell us a little bit about your family history.
Well, I am one of three children. I have one son, and he is a self-made businessman. I'm a professor. I retired, and my husband's an engineer. My family is not very active in sports. My brother played a little baseball. I played nothing, actually. I ran most of the time. But I always enjoyed sports, and I wanted to always be in the Olympics. It was my dream to be in the Olympics when I was a little kid. So I actually achieved that through going to Worlds in dragon boating. And so even though you're a little kid and you have a dream, you can achieve it. And that's what I did.
Where do you live?
I live in the Villages, Florida, and
Right.
I live there 8 months out of the year. And then I go to Western New York, near south of Buffalo, and we lived there for 4 months. And I started a dragon boat festival there for them. And it's all the festivals are usually to help people in need. Okay, it could be cancer survivors, it could be for the hungry, it could be for the kids, it could be for all kinds of things. And for us, we do a lot for the veterans who play sled hockey.
Can you tell us a little bit about dragon boats?
Well, that's kind of interesting because I never heard of it before I moved to the Villages. And I was shopping in this store looking for something for my house. And this girl said to me, what do you do in the Villages? And I said, nothing really. I haven't found anything I really love. And she said, I'm going to go to the lake and we're going to go on this canoe and we're going to learn how to paddle. And they're going to start a team for women and nobody knows what they're doing. So would you like to come? And I said, sure, I can not know what I'm doing too. So that's exactly what we did. We went that afternoon. We learned how to paddle. And there were 20 women in a boat. And we learned how to go forward because paddling goes forward and rowing goes backwards. So I went forward with everybody else and we clunked paddles. We did all the things we weren't supposed to do. And it was so much fun. I couldn't wait to go back. And eventually we got really good and we would move up the ladder of different teams competitively so that ultimately, if you really wanted serious paddling, you would go to these particular teams in order to do that. And so that's what I did. I kept moving around and moving up and found a team that is really challenging for me. And I was able to participate and win international medals. We won bronze medals actually in all three of them. I have been very lucky. I've had excellent coaches and I have gone to Hungary and I've gone to Italy and I've gone to Canada and the United States to compete in the world. So I feel very blessed to have been able to compete in this sport.
That's an interesting story. Would you like to explain a little bit about breast cancer and how that came about?
Yeah, I got diagnosed on Christmas Eve in 2020. And I was told that I had breast cancer and that I needed to find a doctor in the Villages to help me out. And my family helped me. And by the March, it was taken out. I had my 2 breasts removed. And I had to have something to help me rehab. So it turns out that dragon boating is one of the best things for breast cancer survivors because it is good for your arms, it's good for your legs, it's good for your torso. But what's really good about it is if you work really hard, your arms don't swell. You don't get this lymphedema in the arms. And I never had any issues after I started to dragon boat 6 weeks after I had my surgery. And it really is a wonderful sport. And now in Buffalo, New York, they have a breast cancer survivor festival. I know in Canada that they do too. And it's actually coming all over the world because Canada started it. Canada wanted to use dragon boating to help rehab breast cancer survivors. I loved dragon boating before I got cancer. It was great. And it made me feel like I could do anything. I was achieving my goals. I was so excited about dragon boating. I never got tired from practice. I just wanted more and more of it. And once I got cancer, it was really kind of tough because I was miserable. I was in pain. I thought, I'm never going to get back to it. And then once I started to think more positively and decided that I am going to get on that boat in 6 weeks, I am going to compete again. I am the same person I was before. I just had an illness. It's like the flu. You know, you have the flu,
Yeah.
you have something, you can't labor on it. So I don't want people to look at me and say, oh, she's a breast cancer survivor. I am. And I'm glad I survived. But I'm a dragon boater. I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother. I'm many things. I'm not just one thing. And so it was very easy for me to get back on the boat and paddle away and not really feel sorry for myself. And nobody ever thinks about it. They never think I'm a sickly person. I'm not. I'm still fighting cancer, but I'm fine. So that's what the message should be, that you never give up. You're always the best you can be in whatever it is that you choose to do.
Well, and you got through it, so that's the most good.
Thank you. I am too.
Thank you for coming on and explaining to our wide audience what you guys started, and good luck.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate you having me on today.
Yeah, no problem. We're coming out and now we're going to our next host, our next guest, Jimmy.
Yeah, so Jimmy Wolf is 2019 Hill House High School Athletics Hall of Famer. He was an assistant coach and then head coach at Hill House for a number of years. He is known as the New Haven coaching legend who pushes pain aside for kids, and that is very true. We all love Jimmy.
And Eric, the school that we go to, me and Eric, are raising money. Do you know how much money that we raised?
I don't know right now. Maybe we'll know. I don't know that we'll know until the end of October.
All right, let's go to our interview with Jimmy Wolf. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the JV Effect. Still episode 2 with day 2 with Jimmy. How's it going, Jimmy?
It's going all right. I'm sure everybody knows that in September 23rd, I had a bone marrow transplant, which is a form of fighting CMML, which is the worst kind of leukemia, which attacks the bone marrow.
Jimmy, can I ask you just to explain what leukemia is to the audience a little bit?
Sure. Leukemia is a blood cancer, and I had the blood cancer of CMML, which is unfortunately the worst kind you could have. And according to my oncologist, I either had 16 months to live or get accepted to the bone marrow transplant. And fortunately, I found a donor. And I spent 25 days at Smilo and 8 days in intensive care. And thank God my nurses and doctors and everyone there were just fabulous at Smilo. And now I'm home.
So the number one question I have for you is when are you going to return to ACES? Give everybody an update on that.
Well, my transplant coordinator said possibly March 3rd. That's what we're shooting for.
What about the breast cancer awareness fundraiser?
Well, I was very fortunate to have 2 wonderful co-chairmen, and Kathy and Leah, and I did my best from afar. And I understand the bake sale raised over $900, and we have Loose Change Friday. So I've been involved from afar, and they've just done a wonderful job helping me. And our goal is over 2,500, and I think we're going to make it.
Nice.
Let's start talking about his time as an athlete and a coach.
What about your time as an athlete and a coach? Give us a little background on that.
I coached at Hill House for 17 years as an assistant and head, and I was fortunate to be part of 4 state championships. And in 2019, they inducted me into their Athletic Hall of Fame. And then last year, I got the a Lifetime Achievement Award for Hill House for not only coaching but community service, which was very nice.
Our team's lucky to have you here too as a source of motivation and inspiration.
Well, thank you, Eric. I hope so.
Yeah, for sure. Should we talk about being a principal here at the Leader Hill building before you came back with ACES?
How about the principal at the Leader Hill building before you came back to ACES?
Well, I was fortunate, Johnny. After I retired, I was doing some work for DCF, helping at-risk kids. And then one of my friends said, "Why don't you apply to ACES?" I said, all right. So I met with Gina, and Gina says, "I know who you are." And I told Gina, "Today's Monday. You could fire me on Friday." And I'm on my 10th year. And it's one of the best jobs I've ever had because I tell everybody I have a great day every day, and I get more out of it than the students. When I came back to school last year in January, I was recovering from spinal surgery where they put in 3 rods and 2 spacers in my spine, but also a lot of people didn't know that I had leukemia. So, and I wanted to do my job, and I can't thank Whitney Caddy as far as I'm concerned. They were fantastic, letting me do my thing, and I got more out of it than they did. They were a great diversion to my problems.
That's great to hear, Jimmy.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we know you want to rest. You're just back from a treatment, right? So,
yeah. Well, the coincidence is my 100-day critical period ends on Christmas Day.
Wow. Well, that's good.
So I'm hoping that all the cells and everything are connected, and
Yes,
hopefully I'm going to beat this cancer.
we know you will, Jimmy.
Thank you.
You're our picture of resiliency. Our show's about resiliency today, and you've come back from a lot more than just this. We know.
Mm-hmm.
I read the story about they had you out for a few minutes one time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We know you've been down before, but you've come back.
But Eric, I want to thank Whitney Academy, the students, the staff, the administration for all their support, because without your support, I mean, it really helped me in the hospital. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jimmy. That's great. Well, I think we're going to end our conversation with Jimmy, and we'll go back to the studio.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Eric. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Go back to the Quinnipiac studio in Hamden, Connecticut.
All right, Johnny, now we're going to go to our new segment, Talking Sports. You're going to meet Miles Chester. You want to take it away?
All right, you're going to meet Miles Chester. So, Miles, take it away on the airways. Miles, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Johnny. I'm really excited to be on here today.
I heard that you're studying for being a teacher. Give us a little bit about that,
That's right, yeah. Most of that inspiration comes from my mother. She brought me to a lot of her classrooms and a lot of those environments, and I really enjoyed it, and I liked being there, so that's what I wanted to pursue.
How many years are you going to be here?
I should be here for 5 years, 4 + 1.
Let's go to Eric. Eric, do you have any questions?
Oh, hey, I didn't know you were throwing me in the interview here, Johnny. How you doing? Welcome, Miles. Yeah, you know what? One thing that we didn't talk about so much yet is that we're actually doing the this is actually the segment that we're going to call, and we didn't talk about this beforehand, we're going to call it Talking Sports. Is that good with everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Johnny's good with that?
Yep.
All right, Miles, you're good with that?
Yes, sir, I am.
Talking Sports segment. All right, so that's what we got going on right now. We're in the Talking Sports segment. Miles, it's great to meet you, and we're so glad to have you. But let's get into the sports talk. How about that, guys?
Okay, let's get into the sports talk here with Miles and Johnny here from the JV Effect here at Quinnipiac. So, Miles, what do you give us a little backstory on Quinnipiac sports, if you play anything, and we'll go to the pros a little later on in the program.
Yeah, sure. Well, I played football in high school. I played all 4 years. I also played basketball for 2 years.
Right.
But after my sophomore year, I decided to focus more on football. And since there's no football team here, I don't think there would be a point of me trying out anyways. I'm not the biggest guy.
Yes, I know there's like a hockey team here.
Right.
Have you gone to anything?
Yeah, I've been to one hockey game recently, and
Okay.
I plan to go to another with my dad actually tomorrow night at 7.
Oh, so maybe you can give us an update when you go to that in our next episode. That would
Yeah.
be perfect.
Yeah, I'll have to give you a rundown of the game.
What do you know about pro sports? Now, I'm a big Giant fan. What do you think about the Giants?
Well, I can't say too much about the Giants because I'm a Patriots fan. So
Oh wow,
Yeah.
he's a Patriots fan. We're gonna get along good this
Yeah.
season.
and I'm a Red Sox fan.
Wow, I'm a
Yep.
Yankees fan.
Yep, I was told.
So, first of all, what do you like about the Red Sox? Give me a little bit of your Red Sox take.
Well, I was born into all the teams that I like, but I love the Red
Okay.
Sox because I was able to watch a few World Series. I watched 2013, 2018, and we have a really young team right now. We just need pitching. I think that's the only piece
Right.
we're missing is pitching, because we can get on the bats, but we let up too many runs.
So, do you have your favorite player? Can you tell our audience?
Yeah.
My new co-host will now tell you guys a little bit about his favorite player and beyond.
Yeah. So my favorite player for the Sox?
Yes, who's your favorite player?
My favorite player for the Red Sox right now would probably be Rafael Devers or Jarren Duran.
Wow, he's a Rafael Devers fan.
Yeah, or Jarren. I like Jarren Duran a
Jarren
lot.
Duran, a lot. Okay. What was your take when the Yankees got out of when the Yankees and the Red Sox got out of the playoffs? What was your take on that?
Yeah, coming into the season, I didn't have too much high hopes, and
Okay.
definitely not as high hopes as Yankee fans would have had this season. But I knew that we were going to
Wow.
be a 500 level team.
Whoa.
Just decent. I wasn't too mad about not
Sure.
making the playoffs.
What is your last question, and then we'll go on with our show, but do you want to be a podcaster, or what are you feeling about this?
I'm definitely interested to do more episodes. I'm enjoying this right now, and I love to talk sports.
Yeah, so he would like to do more episodes, so
Yeah.
I will definitely keep you in mind when we do an episode.
Perfect. That would be great. All right. Well, the next segment leads us to the World Series. Actually,
Well,
sure you'll be happy to talk about
so
that.
what do you think about the Yankees, and what do you think of their chances going into the World Series?
Well, I would like to say that they have no chance, but I can't say that, of course, because they're loaded, and especially when those guys like Stanton and Judge
Yes,
and Soto, they get hot.
and Judge and Soto can get hot.
Those guys get hot in October, man.
Now, Miles, I know that you're a Red Sox fan, so this question might be off a little bit. But
Okay.
what do you think about the Aaron Judge and Juan Soto? What do you think of that part of the club?
Well, I think as of right now, everybody on the Yankees is doing everything they can to make sure Juan Soto is a Yankee next season.
Okay.
And I think everybody on the
Right.
Mets is doing everything they can to make sure Juan Soto is a Met next season. So I think Aaron Judge will of course, stay a Yankee, but I don't know about Juan Soto. I think he's going to be offered one of the biggest contracts in MLB history.
Right. What do you think of the pay salary for these guys? Do you think do you think the owners are gonna get them, or what's your take on that?
That's a great question. It's gonna be tough for the Yankees to keep everybody. I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know.
They're gonna,
I'm a little bit worried about it.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're gonna do, but what do you think?
I don't know. I think it's time. I don't want to say I think it's Stanton's time to go, but
Right.
if he's only going to perform in the playoffs, I mean, how do you know
Right,
that he's going to be a good player?
How do you know if he's gonna be a good player or not?
Right.
That's the only thing.
Right.
So what should we what do you think? One more thing on the baseball, and then we'll hop over to our next segment. But the last thing I want to say about that is, how do you think next year is gonna look for the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry? Do you think that they're gonna have it?
Well, I've always been a big fan of the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry.
Right.
I watched a lot of 2004 ALCS highlights when the Red Sox came back and the Yankees from 3 down. So I know about the history of the rivalry, and I'm always excited to watch. Even though I don't like the Yankees, I'm always excited to watch them play the Red Sox because it's a challenge every year. The Yankees are always a challenge.
So what do you think we're gonna get to the World Series in 2025 or in 2026? What are your takes?
To be honest with you, I think either one of those is a possibility for you guys based off of your lineup and your pitching right now.
Yeah, we have some good lineups, and we have good people with the RTS.
Yeah.
Or the pitching and
right.
That whole thing.
Speaking
one more thing, and then we'll move on. But what do you think about Garrett Cole this season? I know he's going tomorrow.
Is he going game 1?
I think so. I know he's doing that tomorrow.
Okay.
What do you think of what do you think of that whole thing?
Well, you always feel safe when Garrett Cole's in the bump, but I mean, as a Yankee fan, but I think what's the guy with the mustache? His name for the Yankees? He's like Spanish. He's got that nice stash. He's like your second best pitcher.
Right.
Rodon.
Carlos Randon. That's what it was.
That's right. Yeah, and so I think if he can pitch a good 6 or 7 innings in game 2 or 3, and you guys can get a series lead on LA, I think you should be in good shape.
What do you think? One more question on that. What do you think about the Dodgers? Because I'm more focused on the Yankees,
right.
But I'm a little bit worried about the Dodgers because we played good with them this year, and I'm a little bit worried because they have some good hitters. What do you think about that?
And I would be severely worried too if I were you. And I mean, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Trey Turner, those guys.
Right, Shohei Ohtani is kind of my worrisome.
Yeah, right. He should be. I mean, he it looks like he's hitting a home run every game now, but. And then again, I mean, if you guys can outscore them,
right?
You know what I mean. Then all you got to do is get more runs.
All right, that's the end of the World Series segment. Let's move on.
The next piece of the segment we're going to talk about is DeMar Hamlin and his relationship with Aaron Rodgers recently.
Yes.
So earlier this October, the Bills played the Jets. And I'm sure you're familiar with the DeMar Hamlin incident when back in 2022.
That was really bad. He almost fell over, so that was.
Yeah, he technically died on the field. It was definitely really scary. But that was scary, and I was watching the whole game, and that was so scary with that. Yeah, I did not know what was going to happen to him. So either way, he took the rest of the season off to recover, and ever since then, he's been starting at free safety for the Bills. They run a 3-4 defense, so they only have one safety high usually, and that's DeMar Hamlin. And he's been playing pretty well. And after the Bills-Jets game, the Jets lost 23-20, and Aaron Rodgers, instead of being upset about the loss, he went up to Damar Hamlin after, and they had a few words, and Aaron Rodgers actually gave him his jersey and signed it for him, and Damar Hamlin gave Rodgers his jersey, and Aaron Rodgers put a little note on his jersey for Damar Hamlin. It said, "You're an inspiration to everybody. Keep on fighting," he said.
All right, that's it for Talking Sports with Miles and Johnny for this episode. Thank you all for listening and have a great day. Now we're going to take it over to Miles, my co-hoster.
Yeah, I had a great time on here today. I was definitely, my expectations were high coming in, and they were definitely met. So I thank you so much for having me on here today.
Johnny, that was awesome. I love talking sports with Miles. I hope it's a regular thing on your show. I hope you liked it too.
Yep.
Really a lot of great stories about resilience. What do you think yourself, Johnny? What do you think it takes to be a resilient person?
I think that this will inspire more people to think about the disease and hopefully inspire the interview that we did with Louise. Hopefully will inspire more people to survive cancer. So that's what I think about that.
Yeah, and the best way to survive cancer is to get detection early, mammograms,
Right.
doctor's visits. That's how you survive
Correct.
cancer. I guess that's the end of our show today.
For the JV Effect, and I'm Johnny P.
And I'm Eric Carson.
And Miles. And
Let's thank Miles, too. We'd like to thank Quinnipiac University for hosting us at the podcast studio. Please visit us on our Instagram, jveffect.podcast.
jveffect.podcast.
And leave us a comment about this episode.
And leave us a comment on this episode.
That's all we got. You want to say goodbye?
That's all we got, folks.
All right.
Enjoy and have
Take
a great
care.
night.
Bye-bye.
And go everybody. Good night.